Hey everybody, it's Aunt Jessica, and I am back. I don't know if I'm going to be back like forever or what I'm doing, but I want to go over a couple things, maybe express my feelings, and of course talk about women's sports because we've got a big issue going on. And one of the issues that I'm going to go over actually happened here in my hometown, so it really bothered me that I wasn't able to be more proactive about it. But we'll go over that and some detail, and I'll get you guys up to speed on the current situation with the volleyball. But before we get to that, I was going to touch base on where I've been. I have lost my job. It's been about 3 months, I think, I've been unemployed and kind of slipped into a little bit of a depression. I don't want to say that to alarm anybody, but yeah, I'm really not gelling with life right now. It's kind of given it to me. Not that it's not self inflicted, but I used to do this and now my car looks like this. So needless to say, there's no more Jessica's Uber in Las Vegas. So this issue I'm going to talk about right now, I'm going to bring up a video and show you guys it's not helping Jessica find a job.
Transgender woman suing a Hooters franchise on Wolf Road for discrimination. News 10's James De La Fuente has been following the story and begins our coverage tonight.
The Hooters on Wolf Road drawing protesters twice in recent weeks.
Justice for Brandy, justice for all. Everybody has justice, trans rights.
I'm suing Hooters for sex-based discrimination on the basis of accommodations and on the basis of employment.
The restaurant has been a regular stop for Brandy Livingston, so much so she hopes to someday work there. However, after her recent transition, Brandy claims that she's not respected there as a woman.
They would use male pronouns. They would refer to me as he.
She claims it goes even further, telling me employees and management at the restaurant continually harass her when using the public restrooms.
I overheard one of the servers after I left the restroom talking to one of the managers and said that, "Why are you allowing him in the women's restroom?" And the manager said, "Oh, I don't like it any more than you do."
Brandy filed a claim with the New York State Division of Human Rights, and after investigating, they found sufficient evidence her rights may have been violated under New York Executive Law 296, and there will be a hearing.
At-will situation, proving that the employer's reason they gave was wrong is not enough. You got to prove that it was discrimination on the basis of some prohibited characteristics, such as.
And I want to touch base on that right now. And I was explaining to them if they want to change things to protect women, the key is write your Congress representative. I have done that in Nevada almost for the last 3 years. Jackie Rosen has seen my letters repeatedly every year without fail. And every year I get the same canned answer, but at least I'm trying. So the problem that we're going to talk about that this lawyer is talking about is the Sex Discrimination Act. So there is discrimination laws that protect employees from being discriminated against for their race, ethnicity, religion, political affiliation, and sex. And the problem is that the Biden administration went in and changed that with Title IX to include gender identity. And that's the key here. If we can get the words gender identity removed from sex-based discrimination rights, then this Brandy person wouldn't have a leg to stand on and wouldn't be able to file a lawsuit because they're not discriminating against this person because they're trans. Now, simply existing isn't causing harm, but encroaching on women's spaces, as this person was doing, Brandy, in a women's restroom, obviously made some women uncomfortable because they brought it up to the manager. So yes, you have then made someone else uncomfortable by your existence. So it's a fine line and it's a mess, you guys. Like, my existence is a mess. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it sucks, but that's what it's basically boils down to. Gender identity is protected now because of the Biden Title IX rewrite that they did that popped in those two words and it ruined everything for women. So let's finish this video.
As gender identity.
She says she applied 3 times for employment.
I said, "Do you want to
Gender identity
experience or anything?" Because I had previous jobs I've had written down, and he said, "Well, we don't care about experience. We hire on the basis of personality, and there's an image that needs to be met."
Hooters has fired back, saying through their lawyers that Brandy was requested to not return to the restaurant because of what they say were her own offensive actions, and allege that Brandy on several occasions made sexually explicit comments to servers.
So they just claimed that you had, prior to transitioning and after, you had frequently made multiple servers at the restaurant uncomfortable by informing them you wanted to marry them, discussing masturbation.
I never said any of that.
The Hooters company says that you had threatened to go to a gun range for practice for the next time you came to the restaurant.
My mom would take me to the gun range and for clay pigeon shooting trap. I feel like one of the servers might have overheard what me and my dad were talking about and misunderstood what we were talking about.
I have reached out to local law enforcement.
Crack in the story. He said my mom would take me to the gun range, and then he changes to say me and my dad were probably talking about that, and that's what that server heard. No, you're lying. You probably said those words. There was that whole thing about believe all women and stuff like that. Like, I get the rape culture thing and what went on with the Me Too movement and believe all women, but this person, Brandy, is obviously making these girls uncomfortable. More than one has spoken out, and that was before they worked there. So they kept repeatedly trying to apply, but they were like, no, that person comes in here all the time. I'm doing so good with not saying he on this person, but it's so hard, you guys. I really want to. Not joking. But so Brandy made them uncomfortable even as a customer, and then tries to work there and makes them even more uncomfortable by using the women's room. Like, my last job I had, I did get like a little part-time job at a warehouse place, and super woke, super millennial age group that I was working with. I was by far the oldest person there, but I was holding my own with the young bucks, packaging and getting stuff out the door. But anyway, I went to the men's room for the first day I was there, and like 3 girls came out and they were like, "What the hell are you doing in there?" They were shocked that came out of the men's room. They were like, "You should go in there. There's toiletries." And the women's room had like air fresheners and body spray, and the guys just had like bar soap and some paper towels on the counter, and that was it. So yeah, there are enablers out there, and I have also thrown that back at the gender critical crowd, the radical feminists that say I shouldn't exist and my woman face is offensive. Well, there are plenty of women out there who support trans women like me, who don't think that I should be wiped off the face of the earth and that I should be allowed to look the way I do, as long as it's not hurting anybody else physically. If it hurts you mentally to see me, then I'm going to say that's a you problem, not my problem. If you can't stand the sight of me, there's nothing I can do about that. If you're relating me or putting me in the same category as the self-ID trans people or the trans maxers or the transgenders or the autogynephiles, which is people who have a sexual fetish and get aroused sexually by just being dressed as a woman. They don't want to do surgeries. They don't want to take the drugs. They just want to be a woman and sleep with other women. And that gives them the sexual gratification they're looking for. And that's what they call it, autogynephile. We say AGP for short. I get AGP vibes from this Brandy person, huge AGP vibes, because he's been allegedly said that he wanted to marry some of these female hostesses. Well, what do you expect? They're going to not be comfortable with that. So
enforcement to check any claims of possible gun violence and have found no such threat. Ultimately, Brandy says she does not want money.
What I really want is an apology. I'm never going to get that.
Lawyers for Hooters have not responded to repeated requests for comment. Brandy and Hooters head to a human rights hearing in September of 2025.
It's a very slow system. I think that's why more people don't stand up for their rights.
Reporting in the Capital Region, James Delafonte.
So Brandy wants an apology from Hooters. Doesn't want any money. I'm calling bullshit on that 100%. He's totally looking for a paycheck. Oops, I just said it. But they are totally looking for a paycheck. And I don't think it's right. And also, this is scaring the shit out of every employer in the country, the world, in fact, because over in Scotland, Germany, UK, like the self-ID laws over there are crazy. They're allowing anybody who just says, all you do is put your hand up, say, I identify as non-binary. I get all these privileges. So yeah, every interview I go on, the people are like, great, nice to meet you. I'm so glad you came in. I'm going to push your paperwork through. I'm going to try and get you hired. I'll give you a call, let you know. And beep, 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 nothing. I get no job offers from anybody. And I'm not lying to you guys. Like, the last interview I was in was with 2 probably 30 to 40-year-old women, and they both loved me. They both adored me. One of them even walked me out of the interview, and she was like, oh my God, she's like, I'm not going to say anything out loud, but I'm going to push to get you this job. Like, I want you here. You're an amazing person. You're so nice. Didn't get the job. Got the stupid letter that says we've selected another candidate. So it's either my age or the trans thing. I think once the higher ups or people that work for these corporations, they see someone like me, and all they're worried about is a lawsuit. And I don't blame them, you guys. Like, with shit that we just saw with that Brandy person doing that, like, who would blame anybody for not wanting to hire someone like me? Because I'm just a lawsuit waiting to happen in their eyes. I'm not. I've been let go of a job because of my transness. Is that a word, transness? And I didn't go after the company. My mom was, kind of pushing me like, you should talk to the EEOC, and equal opportunity employment could get involved, and you could, it would be a multi-year process. It takes forever. But I didn't do it. Like, that's not my game. I want to earn my living, and I got to figure it out. So help or pray for Jessica to get a job since I can't seem to get monetized on YouTube. But that's okay. I'm only doing YouTube in order to protect women. That's the goal here. I don't care about making money off of this. But I do appreciate all the comments and the likes and the subscriptions. It really helps grow the channel so that more people can hear a voice from what I would be considered as a reasonable trans person. So as we speak, I have a friend, Courtney, who you guys saw on a video that I released earlier, that she might be able to hook me up with a car as a friend. So I'm kind of excited about that. And what I mean by when life is really giving me the business right now, I don't know if it's because of the trans thing or my age, but I just literally cannot find a job. And I'm not looking for high-end sales jobs or management positions, although I've been a manager in my life in the previous years. I don't want that. I'm just looking for simple warehouse jobs, but I don't want to be like working at Taco Bell, or do I? Flipping burgers, fries, whatever. That's why I'm so stressed out, and I just didn't feel like it's right for me to be doing videos because it wasn't in the right mindset. Now, I even backed off my Twitter, my Instagram, Facebook. I have been like dropped off social media a lot. Like, I've been building back up to it, but I think every once in a while it's good to unplug and get away from social media, help clear the brain out, because there's a lot of negativity on there. And with the upcoming election, we've got even more negativity. What I want to get to, this is important to me, so I wrote it down, and you might catch me reading it off my phone. But another reason why I kind of backed off from social media is because my advocacy feels like I'm kind of spinning my wheels. I want to say wasting my time because that's a little too harsh, but I do feel like I'm spinning my wheels because I dedicate a lot of hours, money, time. I've spent thousands of dollars on computer equipment, studio equipment, video recording equipment to advocate for women's sports. And I do, my social media advocacy as much as possible, but I can't seem to get the followership I need, and I'm not reaching the other side. You guys have heard me say that a million times. Like, I want to talk to the people who disagree with me. What I've run up against lately is from my side, arguments coming at me from my side. And what I mean by that is gender criticals, we call them GCs, or radical feminists. That's kind of a name I call them. I don't know if they agree with that or not, but the TERF crowd, basically the trans exclusionary radical feminists, which I support those women who are TERFs. Like, I'm all for it because basically they want the same thing I want. They want safety for women in prisons. They want safety for women in sports and bathrooms and safe spaces, rape shelters, things like that. So the arguments that I've been getting into, like I said, I'm okay. I will argue all day with someone who disagrees with me, but somebody who I'm fighting to protect would be a radical feminist or a gender critical woman. When they start coming at me with ad hominems and, being critical of how I look or the way I sound or the fact that I'm the way I am, it really disheartens me. And I've said that before in several videos, and several of you guys have come out and told me that, hey, we support you, Jess. Please don't give up. I can't tell you how many women have come to me, DMs and just tweets or Instagram messages telling me personally, even here on YouTube, we appreciate your voice. And that means a lot to me, and it really does keep me motivated. But after a while, the negativity does wear on me. I can handle it from the people who oppose me, but the people that I'm supposed to be protecting, who are supposed to be on my side, that bothers me. So, I wrote down a few things that I want to go over. And, my statement goes like this. It says, I'm not trying to play the victim, and I'm definitely not claiming that I'm oppressed. What I'm saying is, women who are gender critical or radical feminists who can't set aside their hatred towards someone who looks like me, at least long enough to just recognize that I'm on the side of women when it comes to this inclusion bullshit from the trans community. And that is the most frustrating part of my advocacy. I hate arguing with the people I'm trying to protect while they're insulting me and telling me that my mere existence is an insult to them. I mean, I get it. It's kind of weird looking at a guy who's trying to be a woman. It's not natural. And I don't expect to have worldwide acceptance anytime soon. Like, that's never going to happen. I get it. Honestly, there is something unique about me, and I like being myself. There is no sense of belonging if everybody looks the same. So, by nature, humans want to fall into groups or categories. We all want somebody who is of like mind and has the same interests. Those sort of things are important to people because humans are tribal. And like I said, I'm not trying to do like a pity me party, but I just want to make that clear that it's super disheartening to be told that my mere existence on the planet is offensive to women. So there are women who believe that, and I support their beliefs in that. I do my best not to get mad at that because they have that right. They don't have to accept the way I look. And I would never ask them to address me as a woman or use female pronouns with me. Everybody knows this. The number one goal of mine is to maybe not always find a middle ground, because there can't be a lot of compromise when it comes to prisons, sports, and spaces. I've talked about some compromises when it came to like bathrooms or prisons, but the waters get really muddy, and it's just not the argument that I want to have. I want to just say, you know what? I threw my hands up years ago on that whole let's compromise somewhere in the middle, to the point where I'm just like, you know what? Trans needs their own thing, and leave women completely 100% alone, regardless of your transitional status. And I say that to include passing, post operation, pre operation, drugs, self ID, whether you've been on hormones for umpteen many years or just started last week. There are differences in the trans community, but women aren't responsible for figuring that out. We as trans people need to acknowledge that we make women uncomfortable. Well, not all trans girls do, because a lot of trans girls out there don't even look like men at all. Not even an inkling. Like there's some of the younger generation, I can't even tell the difference myself. And I've been doing this for a long time. I'm pretty good at clocking someone, or, looking at features and telling. There's that generation of trans, and I hate lumping them in with me because everybody knows what I look like. I know what I look like. I'm not stupid. I know what I look like. I know what I sound like. I Speaking of in my job for Uber, like people would get in the car, they would see me through the windshield, and they'll be like, "Oh, cool, it's fine." And then some people would actually come up and say, "We thought you were a girl until you opened your mouth, and then we knew you were a guy." So, you know, I can take that lightheartedly. Like that's fine. Like I get it. I didn't take vocal lessons. I didn't use a vocal coach. I didn't get vocal surgery. I transitioned super late. My voice is cracky and old, and yeah, I'm 50. What do you want? So that's how I present, and the fact that women can't handle it, I'm not trying to make that my problem. Now, I don't want that to be an issue for women. I don't want to walk down the street and have women be like, "Oh, offended, he's doing woman face," and I don't like that. But there's nothing I can do. If people feel a certain way about me, I can't change that. The best I can do is to act respectable and be respectful towards them, and that's what I've done my entire life. So I just want to get that off my chest, let you guys know that's kind of why I've been gone for a while. Is just, one, I crashed my car. I am fine. The car was totaled. And two, just the constant arguing with women about whether or not I should be allowed to fight for women's rights. I'm not speaking on behalf of women. I'm just trying to speak up for women. I'm trying to use my voice and my social status to protect women. That's all, nothing more. So thanks for listening to me rant about my lows in life right now that I'm going through, and I will stay with you guys as much as I can, and we'll keep a positive outlook, and hopefully things will turn around. So the next issue that I want to talk about is a huge volleyball issue going on. And if you're familiar with it, the volleyball person is Blair Fleming. So Blair Fleming is a senior at San Jose State University, male to female transition. She does present very feminine. Some pictures yes, some pictures no. I don't want to judge on the looks, but the only reason I bring up the looks is because of the fact that Blair Fleming's probably been on hormones since, I would say, 12, 13. I can't tell, because if we try and ask that of these trans people, they get so offended, like, you're violating my human rights trying to ask me for my blood test and my blood work. Well, how are we supposed to know that you've been on these hormones that you say level the playing field for women if you won't give us your blood results, your blood tests, your blood work? We don't know. We don't know. You could say you've been on hormones, but not. This picture tells me no, but when I see other photos of Blair, she does look like a girl. So, there's several things that give her away. Her jawline, for me, the ear, I kind of noticed the forehead, ear, and the body. Oh my gosh. Blair is like 6'1", I believe. And that will come into play later when I show you guys these videos. So here, I'm going to show you footage of this 6'1" biological boy playing against female volleyball players. And where that 6'1" comes into play, women's volleyball nets are shorter than the nets that the men play on. And I've actually had people debate me on Twitter, argue with me the fact that on average, a male volleyball player of the same age group will spike the ball or serve the ball 7% higher pace and force than a woman. So Blair, who's 6'1", has a shorter net to work with and has 7 to 12% more power in her spikes. We've already seen that happen to Peyton McNabb. She was struck in the
look
face
at that
with
dude. They
volleyball and now
highlighted
has
it. Huddle.
speech impediments, constant dizziness.
That's 2,000 years of
life is basically
evolution
ruined.
coming.
Because her coaches and the people she trusted told her, this is what you need to do. You have to play volleyball regardless of who's on the other side of the net. So this is what women are up against. And watch this video. This is crazy. That's Blair right there. I mean, obviously, the job of the team that's going to win is to set the ball for Blair to spike it. That's the whole team. How hard that is. Insanity. And the announcer, yeah, Blair Fleming with the kills. He's incredible. Like, that even hit another defender all the way to the other defender, and she still couldn't stop it. That girl was in perfect position to bump that spike and couldn't do it because it was so hard. The pace, it knocked her lower arm down and then it hit the floor. How is this fair? Look at this. It's ridiculous. Again, right. Didn't do anything. Ball's coming over to you. And this is why 5 schools, you guys. If she would have gotten it properly, it would have gone straight up into the rafters and it would have been point for San Jose anyway. I'm done watching that. You guys, that just pisses me off watching that. So, yes, I'm crying. But what? Sorry, you guys, I'm crying because I hate watching that. But so what's happened recently is 5 schools who know about this have come out and said, we are forfeiting our game against San Jose State. We are going to try and protect our women against injury. And of the 5 schools, one of them was Nevada State University, which unfortunately is in Reno, Nevada, which is an 8-hour drive for me. So I couldn't get up there. But initially I would go to Reno just to support those women and say, thank you, shake a hand to say, hey, you guys don't cave into this woke ideology. Don't cave into this trans inclusion BS. So here's what happened in Nevada. The volleyball team got together with their assistant coach and they all said, we are going to forfeit our match against San Jose because of Blair Fleming. But we can't say that, so we're just going to say we forfeited. So here's the problem now, and why I did want to go to Reno is because the athletic director tried to pressure the girls volleyball team at Nevada to play San Jose State, saying it's not fair and that you can't do that to someone. It's discriminatory. The athletic director, Stephanie Rampy, even had the nerve to say this to the girls, that they needed to be educated on competing against a transgender player like Blair Fleming of San Jose State. Like, she literally said that. They need to be educated about playing against a transgender person. How about no? How about we just let them play against other women and it's not an issue? So eventually the Nevada State girls, they did show up to the game, but they did not play. So kudos to them. And here's where the story gets even worse. San Jose State University's assistant coach, her name is Melissa Smoozy, I think I'm pronouncing that right, said enough is enough. I'm tired of this and I'm going to file a complaint against the school and the NCAA for allowing this transgender athlete to compete against women. I have 8 girls on my team who don't want to play alongside Blair Fleming because they know it's not fair. 3 girls on the team do support Blair and say it's not a problem. Okay, so here's where it gets even worse. We have 4 people involved, 4 women involved in this issue, with the assistant coach, Melissa, the trans athlete, Blair, Blair's teammate, Brooke Slusser, who's the one who originally came forward first and said, hey, we have a trans player and we shouldn't be doing this, and has now joined the team of Riley Gaines in the lawsuit to sue the NCAA for the rewrite of Title IX. So hopefully that goes through. And then now we have a Malaya Jones, who is an opponent at Colorado State University, my old hometown. And allegedly, Blair, the trans athlete, got in contact with Malaya Jones and said, hey, here's what's going to happen. I want you to target Brooke, my teammate. I want you to spike the ball at her as hard as you can. And how I'm going to allow you to do that is anytime the ball comes over my side of the net, I'm just going to bump it straight back over and you spike it right back at us. Instead of Blair, the trans person, taking the bump, getting a set, and then spiking it over, Blair decided to teach her teammates a lesson for going behind her back or not allowing her to be included. Blair was just going to bump the ball back over to this Jones girl who is a major athlete of her own. Like, she's no joke. She can hit the ball hard, as you're going to see right now. And it is obvious that this is what Blair is doing, and it's intentional. And guess what? When the assistant coach for San Jose State said, this isn't cool, we shouldn't be doing this, here's the text or the DMs I found between Blair and Jones saying, hey, let's work together and you guys can, beat my team and hurt my teammates for routing me out. Guess what? The assistant coach has now been fired, of course. So they will silence anyone who gets in the way of trans inclusion. And this is why you guys saw me in tears earlier. Hopefully I can watch this without crying, but we'll see. So that's right there.
Send it over.
That's
Right back
Blair.
to the Brand. Down on the overpass. William Jones is the last person you want to put the ball up for grabs for.
Let's watch that again. So the serve comes over.
Emery Herman to serve. Send it over.
Blair.
Right back to the Brand. Down on the overpass. William Jones is the last person you want to put the ball up for grabs for.
Not only is Blair cheating, but now targeting her own teammates because they don't want her hurting other women, or they don't want their legacy ruined by the fact that they're going to have an asterisk by their school forever as champions because they had a male athlete on the women's team. Like, whatever the reasons are, it doesn't matter. Women don't need a reason or an excuse. They deserve to have their own sports without any male involvement. Why is this so hard for people to understand? I'll tell you why. Because the Biden administration and the Title IX rewrite said if you discriminate on gender identity, you will lose funding from the government to support your schools, scholastics, your sports, all your educational needs. All your funding will be removed if you do not allow this trans inclusion to happen. So that's why the administration is looking for the dollars, and there maybe some administrators, not the athletic director for Nevada State University, obviously, Rempe, that's her last name, she blindly goes with this trans inclusion issue and tells her own students to get themselves educated so that they're not considered bigots or transphobes, and makes them put themselves in danger when they obviously put their hand up and said, we're not going to do this. So that's what I got right now. San Jose has a male. He's cheating. Their coach even spoke up. She got fired. The male cheating even went as far to throw a game in order to teach his own teammates a lesson. Like, it doesn't get any more like movie scripted, downright dirty and low than that. So I'm sorry if my video's a little bit jumpy, and just trying to save women's sports, you guys. And who knows what happens after November 5th. We're either going to have Donald Trump as a president and there will be riots. Cities will burn to the ground. I'm almost sure of it. If Donald Trump doesn't win and they prove that the Democrats cheated, there will be a civil war. I am unfortunately 100% sure of that as well. So my point of that is that if Donald Trump does win, he has already said, him and JD Vance and the entire team that you'd be voting for when you're voting for Donald Trump, you're voting for his cabinet, the team that he's put together with Elon, Vivek, Bobby Kennedy Jr., and most importantly, I think who should have been the vice president, Tulsi Gabbard. Like, that one still bothers me. I don't understand why he didn't choose a female vice president, being that, as Megyn Kelly said, Trump is hemorrhaging female votes as it is. Like, that would have helped him secure this even further. So let's keep our fingers crossed. If you guys have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate. Give me a like and a subscribe and share this if you can. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in and staying with me. Thank you guys. See ya.